Market measures. Zero DTE options. The risk of, it's scary that we remember that stuff. What was that, 37 years ago? Unbelievable. Zero DTE options. The risk of naked short premium. When trading short premium in zero DTE cycle, we got totally off track, the risk will be very different than our standard 45 days to expiration short premium trades. We're going to take a look at the difference, Mr. Batista. Let's do it. We did a study. And remember that our market measures are kind of our big studies every single day. We did, we looked at the SPY. We sold 25 Delta Strangles in zero DTEs, and we also sold them in the 45-day cycle. We compared the credit received on the zero DTE to the credit received on the 45-day cycle, and we divided it by 45, okay? Because we're doing 0 days, and then we're looking at we're kind of comparing risk. We compared the credits this way to show how much more credit the zero DTEs collected per day than the 45-day to expiration trades. Compared the daily risk in both strategies given a 1, 2, and 3 standard deviation move for that day. So before we go next slide, John, let me ask you this. How many, so you know how we say, like, if you do weeklies, you get like an extra week in a month, right? Because instead of, if you do a monthly option, you collect, let's say, $4. If you do 4 weekly options, you collect $5.
Sure.
Because you get paid for the extra risk.
Yeah.
So if you were to do one,
and you're also assuming you closed it at 0. There's a lot going on there. Yes.
If you were to do one 45-day option or one single or one zero DT option for 45 straight days, how much more do you think you'd collect?
I don't know.
Like
10% more?
No, 10 times more, you mean?
10 times more? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
I don't know.
I would say, if I had to guess, I would say 8 to 10 times more.
Yeah.
Because listen, if you're
assuming it goes to 0, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. In the back of my head, I'm thinking like 8 to 10 times more.
Right.
But that's probably worth the compensation. That's about it. But then we're going to look at it at 1, 2, 3 standard deviation moves for the day. In a day like today, a 1 standard deviation move is 40 points. A 2 standard deviation move is 80 handles in the S&P, and a 3 standard deviation move is about 120. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So when comparing the premium by daily exposure, we find that zero DT options, oh wow, it's less than I thought, carry 5.4 times more premium than the 45 days when normalizing by the day. Okay, so that's actually less than Tony and I both thought. I was thinking 8 to 10 times, but 5.4 times, that seems less than I would have thought it would be. In an efficient market, the risk should also adjust higher, of course. So the first thing we did is look at this slide, and this is really interesting. So in the zero DT options, which are pretty recent, you collect 91 cents, and in the 45 days, you collect 747.
You know why? Because you're going to the out of the money options too. That's what it was. You're probably thinking more closer to at the money.
Well, these are 25 deltas.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that.
Yeah, these are 25 deltas. So the daily premium adjusted for time in the 45 days is 17 cents a day, and in the let me just cover this futures here.
Oh, look at you, back at 4,000 on the evening S&Ps. You made a little scalpy.
A little scalpy.
You.
And so 17 cents a day versus 91 cents. Okay. That's, and if you multiply 17 times 5.4, you'll get to 91, I'm sure. Yeah. That's how it works. So the difference in 0 and 45-day premium is 5.4 times. Okay, now we have a statistic out there that we did not know about before. Very interesting. Let's go to the next slide. We love giving takeaways. That's the first takeaway. Second takeaway, because increased gamma inherent in the zero DT options, because of the increased gamma, a large move in the underlying will cause exponentially increased losses compared to the same move affecting longer dated options. Obviously, something that happens in the same day is going to be grossly exaggerated. So if we look at the loss as a percent of the credit received based on a move, on a 1 standard deviation move, which happens 32% of the time, we're just using the straight theoreticals, 45-day options, you lose 3%. These are if you're short them, okay? On zero DTs, you lose 65%, sorry. The 2 standard deviations move is where it starts to get ugly, and you go, which happens 5% of the time, from 13% to 550%. So if you sold something for $1, it's going to go to $6.50. Okay?
Significant.
It's significant. And then assuming that you go to the 3 standard deviation move, which happens 1% of the time, in a 45-day option, you lose 29%. Okay? That's something you can handle. It's a lot, but you can handle it. In the 0 DTE, 1,000%. So if you sell something for $1, it's going to $1,100.
Significant.
Significant. But just so you know, we put the numbers there. That's what we do. We give real numbers.
Well, just like everything, like you've been trading a lot of butterflies on these 0-day options, and
taking out the outlier risk.
Taking out the outlier risk, and they also move very quickly too. Meaning a butterfly that you put on for 20, 30, 40, 50 cents in 45 days is going to take 44 days for it to move. When you're playing the 0-day options, you're doing a strategy like that. So you have to adjust the strategy. Now, I know we're looking at the 0-day options, from a selling standpoint of view. We are going to get to a buying point of view and or a strategy point of view where you could take advantage of some of this movement like you get here in these 0-day options. So more to come. I like where they're going. We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, these things all over the place. Great. So those stats are really interesting, actually. And we're going to go to the next slide. Now we have 2 takeaways. One is that it's 5.4 times, and the other one is that it could be on a 2 or 3 standard deviation move. It could be 5 or 10 times what it would be. The losses could be. So the losses are exponentially more. Now the third one, comparing the losses as a percent of the credit received on the 0 DTE to the 45 days to expiration options, the tail risk due to gamma is roughly 30 times larger on average in the 0 DTEs. Compare this to collecting 5 to 6 times more premium per day. Now this is your this is your money shot.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the argument here is that when you're looking at 0 DT to 45-day options, and again, we're not trying to make the case not to trade 0 DT options, because we do think that there is a lot of value in some of those different strategies and things like that. We're just presenting the risk a little differently than most people present risk. And when we look at 1, 2, and 3 standard deviation moves, and we look at the tail risk, okay, because that's where people freak out, it's about 30 times greater, although the premium is only 5.4 times more. That's where the math falls apart on 0 DT options.
Yep.
And how did we get to 30? Well, we took the 1, 2, and 3 standard deviation moves, we added them together, basically took an average. That's all it is. So you have about 30 times greater outlier risk, but you only collect 5.6 times more premium. That's the challenging part of the 0 DT options.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Let's go to the last slide. It's a very good piece.
It is a good piece.
So the great equalizer in trading short premium in 0 DT options is the exponentially larger tail risk than the longer duration options. So you get 5.4 times bang for your buck, but you take 30%, 30 times, not percent, 30 times more tail risk. Additionally, unlike the 45 DT trades, there is no management, rolling, or defensive tactics available to 0 DT traders. You're pretty much, once the day gets rolling, you're pretty much, what do they say? In for a penny, in for a dollar?
In for a dime, in for a dollar, yeah.
In for a dime, in for a dollar, in for an ounce, in for a pound, whatever it is. Meaning that the increased gamma is unavoidable. So people, they say to us all the time, they go, well, we'd love to have a stop order in here. Well, we understand you'd love to have a stop order, but life doesn't work that. I mean, you can try to do whatever you want, but I wouldn't count on it. So anyway, just to be clear of the concept, all right?
Good piece by the team. We'll have more on this subject every Thursday, 0-day options as they become so popular. 855-238-2789 or 855-BE-TASTY. That's the phone number to call. Phone lines open right now. We have no other guest. I mean, Mr. Scott Sheridan is not coming on from Tasty Trade World Headquarters. So we'll go to you, our viewers. You got a question? Question about this? Question about 0-day options? Question about anything? We'll be back in 90 seconds. I'd love to hear from you. Light up the phone lines.